Hi there BookTube, it's Emma from Emma's Bookish Lifestyle, and I know it's been a long time, so this is my first video for 2018. I do apologise for taking so long, but this is going to be a little bit of an update chat, telling you what I've been up to, what's been going on with me, and also a library book haul. So first of all, thank you ever so much to David at Wild Reads for giving me a shout out. I really do appreciate it, David, and I am planning on doing a lot more in the way of uploads now that I'm back up and running. As you can see at the moment, I'm in the kitchen. That is Ziggy, our little ginger cat. I've recently moved in with my boyfriend and his young daughter, and that all took place over Christmas. Obviously, as a lot of you know, I hadn't been well prior to Christmas. That is still under investigations at the moment. There's no real progress to report. However, in the interim of that, I've also now been made redundant last month. So I am only just starting a new temporary job role at the moment through an agency. So life's been quite stressful, quite full on, quite intense, lots of things to react to, but not necessarily always in a negative way. I've had some fantastic support from my friends and family. I'd like to shout out to Victoria at Eve's Alexandra and Mel from Mel's Bookland Adventures. They have become very dear friends to me, and I chat to them quite frequently, and they've been a good support during what has been quite a disruptive time. Sorry, I'm trying to get the right angle of the camera. I think I've got it right now, so apologies for that. I'm also, for those new subscribers that are out there, a person who does YouTube videos but doesn't edit. So what you see is what you get. I can only apologise for the reflections in my glasses. Sometimes it depends on the time of day that I get to record. Obviously working means it's difficult to record during the day. Weekends are usually taken up with childhood pursuits and adult responsibilities like housework and dull stuff like that. So I like to try and get all of that done so I can get as much reading in as possible. So yeah, life is good. Apart from that, a little hiccup towards the beginning of the year. I have been reading. I have been keeping my Goodreads up to date, which was part of my sort of informal resolution to myself. Another program resolution that I've had is I want to take part in a few more tags and obviously upload a bit more content. So I will be trying to update content. If there is anything that you would particularly like seen on my channel, or a certain type of information on my channel, please do let me know in the comments down below. Unfortunately, you won't get my partner on video, and we're trying to keep his 9-year-old off it at the moment, because we don't want her getting too carried away with the world of tech when there's school and homework and other things. However, she is bookish. Brooke is very bookish. She reads, and we're regularly at the library, and that brings me down to the next topic. So my recent library haul, which I picked up at the end of January, was a series of, I actually picked up 6 books, which I think is the most I've ever picked up from the library. Some of them, I suppose, you may think are a bit of a cop-out, but based on my lifestyle and everything and the way things are going at the moment, I've picked a kind of cross-section of genres and lengths, so hence why I made the choices that I've made. Apologies if I keep going. I've got really dry lips at the moment. I also have a drink on standby, so if needs be, I will take a slurp. So the first book I got is Peter Bunzel's Cogheart. Now, apologies again, reflective covers of the library. Initially, I think what drew me to it was the fox on the cover. I think I've seen somebody else read this on their channel. I believe it may be middle grade, but I found it on a random shelf. And sometimes I think when you find a book on the random shelf, it's because it's destined to be read by you for whatever reason. So this caught me just with the opening 3 words on the back, basically, which said, "Some secrets change the world in a heartbeat." This is the life of Lily, who is in mortal peril. Her father is missing, and now silver-eyed men stalk her through the shadows. What could they want from her? With her friends Robert, the clockmaker's son, and Malkin, her mechanical fox, Lily is plunged into a murky and menacing world. Too soon, Lily realises that those she holds dear may be the very ones to break her heart. And it says, murder, mayhem and mystery meet in this gripping Victorian adventure. So, as I say, I'm not 100% sure if it's middle grade, but it's set in Victorian England. It's got clockwork, so it's a bit steampunky maybe. And it's got Clockwork Fox. Foxes. Who can say no? So that's the first book. The second book is was found in the historical fiction and was named historical fiction. This is Orphans of the Carnival by Carol Birch. I think you can see that one a bit better because it's a lot darker cover. Now, obviously, with The Greatest Showman being on and all the controversy that can raise for obviously not using people with disabilities, and obviously portraying PJ Barnum in a somewhat happy-go-lucky stance rather than the evil and manipulative chancer that he actually was. There's a lot of sort of books out there that kind of draw you in with the term carnival, and this was one that was quite new to my library and was in the historical fiction section. I love historical fiction, for those of you who are new to my channel. I will try and slip little updates in on me, so that if you don't feel you want to watch my back catalogue, and some of my early doors videos are quite cringe, and I've been on here for a year now, so I just wanted to put that in as a little side note. So this says at the back, Julia Pastrana is the singing and dancing marvel from Mexico. She is heralded across 19th century Europe as much for her talent as for her unusual looks. Yet few can see past her freakish appearance to the ambitious woman within. Orphans of the Carnival sweeps us from the music halls of Vienna to an attic in modern-day South London, playing out an epic tale of grit, love, music and triumph of the human spirit pushed to extremes. Now, I believe there is now a sequel to this as well. So I'm hoping that if I enjoy that, I can move on to the second book. The third book I picked up was a Wallander thriller, which I'd never read before. I also like crime and thriller fiction, and this is by Henning Mankell, who I've never heard before, and it's called An Event in Autumn. Now, okay, technically we're kind of in winter, but up until this last week, the weather in the UK has been somewhat British and been more autumnal than wintry. Although this week we've now got snow, so go figure. Anyway, this says, Kurt Wallander's life looks like it has taken a turn for the better when his offer on a new house is accepted, only for him to uncover something unexpected in the garden, the skeleton of a middle-aged woman. As police officers comb the property, Wallander attempts to get his new life back on course by finding the woman's killer, with the aid of his daughter Linda, but when another discovery is made in the garden, Wallander is forced to delve further back into the area's past. Sounds good. Okay, so I believe this month is Black History Month. Tell me if I'm wrong. This isn't about Black history, but this is a female Black author, and as it's February, I thought I would read it. It's God Help the Child by Toni Morrison. And for those of you that don't know, I'll just read the synopsis very quickly at the back. Sweetness wants to love her child, Bride, but she struggles to love her as a mother should. Bride, now glamorous, grown-up, ebony black and panther-like, wants to love her man, Booker, but she finds herself betrayed by a moment in her past, a moment born of a desperate burn for the love of her mother. Booker cannot fathom Bride's depths. With his own lovelorn past... Excuse me, the cat's decided to fight and knock the camera. Negative trend of doing it in the kitchen. I will be doing them upstairs, but it's so cold today, I was not going to be doing it in the loft. So sorry, where were we? Booker cannot fathom Bride's depths with his love of her mother, with his own lovelorn past, bending him out of shape. Can they find a way through the damage wrought on their blameless childhood souls to light and happiness free from pain? So, Toni Morrison. I have read Beloved, and I'm going to be really honest with you. I read it in my 30s, and I struggled with it. I don't know whether it was the nature of the context of the book or the style of the writing. But yeah, I really, really struggled with it. So we'll have to see how we go. Now, this is the one that I wanted to make a little preface to. So I picked up one of the quick reads that was only £1 when it was released from the library. And this is Sophie Hannah. And this is Pictures or It Didn't Happen. Now, this is a thriller again. And basically is based around a lady called Chloe and her daughter Freya, who are both rescued from a disaster by a mysterious man who seems really, really nice and too good to be true. And she wants to thank him, so she goes looking for him. But instead of meeting him, she comes across another lady, Nadine Caspian, who warns her to stay well away. That the man is dangerous, he's a compulsive liar, and this obviously scares Chloe and asks her what she means. But because Nadine won't go into detail, Chloe doesn't walk away, basically. And she's too curious and goes after him. So that's a very slight, I think it's 124 pages. But obviously with work and stuff going on now, I wanted to get the balance right of small and large reading. And the next book I got was The Complete Mouse, volumes 1 and 2 in a combined edition. I was really impressed that my very, 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 very tiny library had this, but I'm not really surprised because it is a Pulitzer Prize winning book. But it seems like, again, a relatively new and unread edition. So I'm already reading this for February, and I'm about 128 pages through, and it's a retelling of the Holocaust, and is being characterised and pictured using the cats as Nazis and the mice as the Jewish population, and then there's characters that are dressed as pigs or wearing pig masks, which are either Polish or Jewish pretending to be Polish. And you would think, based on the fact that it's got a graphic element to it, that it would detract from the strength and the power of the story, but it really doesn't. It really draws you through. And this is from the standpoint of a young man being told his father's story and experience of World War II, right the way from the very beginning, and I assume up to its conclusion. And it's graphic. It does, you know, it is a graphic novel, but it is graphic. There are scenes of Jews being hung and shot and things like that. So do be aware, it's not a cutesy cartoony book. It is based on historical true story, and I believe it's a true story anyway, but it's extremely believable if it isn't, and it's got me completely hooked. But I do believe it is actually Art Spiegelman's father's story, and it's so poignant. I defy anybody not to find it fascinating. So as you can probably hear, the dogs are awake, carnage is ensuing, and I've still got more to tell you. So I think I'm going to stop here. I'm going to break it down into 2 parts, and I'll come back and chat to you soon. Take care for now, BookTube. Bye.